everybody. Welcome back to Challenge the Call with Max and Avery. I'm your host, Max.
And I'm Avery. How are you guys?
So we have another guest today with us. We have Avery's friend, Phillip. Phillip, introduce yourself.
Howdy, my name is Phillip. I am a friend of Avery's. I am a Cowboys fan. I got my Prescott jersey to rep. I met Avery through the Air Force, and I live here in Omaha. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to me. Nothing special.
Yeah, happy to have you on today. So, obviously he is on because Bears are playing the Cowboys, and we will get into that later. But first, we'll kick it off with our notable game recap. First off, I want to talk about the game that just happened tonight. We're recording on Thursday night, by the way, literally minutes after the Ravens just beat the Bucs 27-22. Avery, I know you were at work, but did you happen to catch any of this game?
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it. The Ravens look solid. They started off pretty slow. But what is going on with Tampa Bay this year? Like, Tom's ready to retire. He ruined his life. He's getting a divorce. What is going on?
I think Tom definitely should have retired when he had the chance. He has not been doing a great job. He's got all the same good players around him still, but I think he needs to be out of the game. Phillip, what do you think? You think Tom should have been done, or?
You know, I think it would have been great for him and great for the rest of the NFL fans that were tired of watching him terrorize the NFL if he went out and retired after his Super Bowl. But after his competitive nature to come back and play another season, and especially to go out against the Rams like they did in that playoff series last year, coming back with that huge deficit, almost winning that game, you know, there's no way he could just retire on that. And so now he's back again after retiring. So I don't know when he's going to have enough.
So I want to ask both of you guys. So I don't mind Tom Brady. I don't hate Tom Brady, but I don't like Tom Brady. And at a certain point, if you're a Tom Brady hater, do you love this season that he's having? Because he's having a terrible season. So seeing Tom struggle this much when you've never seen Tom struggle that much, isn't that like kind of bittersweet in a way?
It is a little bittersweet. I have some mixed feelings about it just because there's something about it where I'm just a deeply empathetic person, and I know he's getting old. He's kind of aging out, and obviously he's getting a divorce now, and so his life seems like it's starting to move into shambles a little bit. Granted, it's probably partially his fault for coming out of retirement, not just, you know, being done with the game, keep staying with his family, etc. But there are those aspects where I can't help but feel just a little bit bad.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's done, and I think he'll retire at the end of this year, and that's all it's going to write. And it's kind of sad seeing a storybook ending of Tom Brady's career in this way.
It is. This is a rough kind of end to it. I arguably think he should have retired right after he won that first Super Bowl, Tampa Bay. I think that would have been the perfect time for him to get out of the game, end on a win, say, hey, I'm the greatest there ever was, and now I'm out.
Definitely. Phil, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with what Max just said. I think it would have been great if he could have bowed out at that moment, kind of like how Peyton Manning did, minus all the 7 Super Bowls that Manning never got to Brady. But he went out in 2015 on a Super Bowl win. There's really not more you could ask for. So I think that would have been his best moment to bow out. But
although
definitely,
he did break one more record tonight. He is officially the most sacked quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah, he beat, what was it, Roethlisberger.
Yep.
At 554 sacks, so, yeah.
But
that's insane.
Another comment I just wanted to speak on with tonight's game and everything. First game I got to truly watch with our boy Tyler Linderbaum starting at center for the Ravens. I was excited to see that. And to put some more icing on the cake, we also had Tristan Wirfs on the other side, or with Tampa Bay. 2 Iowa boys played together back in 2018, 2019, now going against each other. I've just thought that was neat.
Yeah, I really like Tyler Linderbaum. He's a pretty solid center, and he's doing well for Baltimore. I'll say that. Like, he's doing really well for Baltimore, so that's really cool. I want to talk about a quarterback, and I like average Joe quarterbacks. And this quarterback right here, he just beat Green Bay last weekend. Taylor Heineke. I want to talk about that game. Let's talk about that game.
All right. Definitely, I was real surprised to see that game, and also slightly pleased with it, as the game we're referring to is the Packers played the Commanders, and the Commanders won 23-21. And one, yay, because fuck the Packers. And two, I think to some degree this makes the Bears' loss to the Commanders a little bit more respectable. Like, hey, they just knocked off the Packers now, too. So maybe not the worst team?
As much as I want to agree with that, it's still the fucking Commanders. And we still lost 12-7 to the fucking Commanders with Darnell Mooney dropping a touchdown pass that should have won us the game. So I'm still bitter about that game. Very, very bitter about this game. The thing that I like about the Commanders now is, I say it all the time, I think Heineke is the next Ryan Fitzmagic. Ryan Fitzmagic. I think he can go from Ryan Fitzmagic to Ryan Fitztragic. And I think it's the same as Taylor Heineke. And I really do, because that man, he looked like crap in the first half.
That was one of my thoughts, referring back to making the Bears' loss not look as bad, is the Bears did play Carson Wentz that whole game, whereas the Packers technically lost to Heineke. So arguably Heineke being a better quarterback than Carson Wentz, it's like, okay, that does get back to the Bears still looking fairly tragic. Phillip, from a third what is it, point of view, what do you call that? Third perspective, whatever, outside point of view. What do you think?
I don't believe I hate Aaron Rodgers and the Packers as much as either of you guys do, but I hate them quite a bit because they have knocked Dallas out of the playoffs, or in the playoffs a couple of times more than I would like. And so any day Aaron Rodgers loses is a great day for me. I wish it wasn't to another NFC East opponent. Thankfully, it was the low-life Commanders and not, say, someone better like the Eagles or Giants. But yeah, it was beautiful watching Aaron, not get that win, and it was really funny watching that last play where they were just lateraling the ball, and the ball ended up going through that lineman's legs. Zero coordination. He didn't even know it was coming to him. It just went right between his legs. That one was pretty funny to watch.
Reminded me of Avery in high school.
Okay. But newsflash, the Packers are now officially 3-4. The same record as your Chicago Bears. So that's pretty exciting. The North is shit. I hate to say it, and the Vikings are probably going to run away with this division. But just to see the Packers look mortal is insane, and I love it.
Definitely. And I think, I don't know, especially with the Bears win this week, which we'll get into later, I think the team is really starting to come together. And so I like that we're tied with Green Bay. Hopefully, come the second matchup, we can pull out and come on top of it. And that's what I would like to see. But to get into our next game, because Phillip is here, Cowboys versus the Lions. The Cowboys did demolish the Lions 24-6. Phillip, let's get your thoughts first on that.
I think it was it was a win, so I'll be happy with a win. It was Dak's first game back from the injury. I think he had a fair game. It wasn't impressive, it wasn't shocking, and our defense still really earned us that win more than the offense. But I think Dak played well. I think he'll improve week by week now that he's back. But yeah, I was happy we were able to beat the Lions. I honestly thought it could be a little scary knowing that they were the number one scoring team in the league. And I knew that Dallas, they're not great at scoring points themselves. But but yeah, the defense held them off without a problem. And yeah, it was a good Dallas win. I'll be happy with that.
Where do you stand on the quarterback controversy with Dak and Cooper Rush?
I think it's a lot of fun to compare both quarterbacks and create that whole controversy scenario. But I 100% believe that Cooper Rush is a backup for a reason, and we don't pay him nearly as much money as we pay Dak, although I think we pay Dak too much money. I still think Dak is completely our quarterback, but we got to start when he's healthy. I'm glad we have Cooper Rush at backup, as good of a backup as he is. But yeah, I got to go with Dak. I got a Dak jersey for a reason and not a Cooper Rush jersey.
So, Phil, I want to talk to you about something real quick.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, right? Me and you, we watched that game together. Do you think it was a demolishing, or do you think it was a grit out because, they scored 2 TDs in the last 6 minutes of the game? What do you think?
I think the Dallas defense demolished Detroit. And I also think that Detroit kind of demolished themselves. It was a really bad day to be a Detroit fan because your own team beats you and Dallas beats you. So it was just bad. Again, obviously, offensively, we didn't just go off. It was on like one of the first plays of the game. Who was it? One of our defensive guys strip sacks the ball, and it gets returned for a touchdown. I think it was on the first offensive drive. And so our defense scored like half those points anyways. But, again, points are points. I'll be happy with them either way.
That sounds like an Iowa team right there.
Yeah.
Definitely. Second question. Where do you guys stack in the loaded NFC East? We've talked about 2 teams already, with the Commanders being 3-4 and the Cowboys being 5-2. But you also got the Eagles 6-0 and you got the Giants 6-1. So where do you guys stack?
Yeah, I believe we're appropriately at where we're at right now. We lost to the Eagles, obviously. I do think that once we play them again with a healthy Dak, I think we win that game. I think by the time that game comes around, our offense should be in sync and in rhythm. And I think we win the next game. It was good to match up against them the first time and see what did and didn't work. I'm not really too worried about Washington. I'm pretty sure we'll win that next game with a lot of confidence. The Giants, yeah, we beat them the first time with Cooper Rush, so I don't know why we wouldn't beat them with that. But any given week, I like to keep that in mind. Any given week, anything can happen. So,
especially this year in the NFL, truly, everything is just crazy. Vikings are number 1 in the NFC North. Frickin' Giants, Jets are doing good. Everything is just absolutely wild right now. Speaking of the Jets, too, one thing I just wanted to mention was our Iowa State running back, Breece Hall, suffered a torn ACL in their last game. And is he out for the season, do we know? Probably, right?
He is out for the season. And I don't want to talk about that because he was one of my fantasy running backs, and I loved every little bit of it for the last 3 weeks when he's been going off. And one big move the Jets did make is they traded for James Robinson in the beginning of the week from Jacksonville. So, I mean, it's not, a big-time player, but he's a good, solid running back. So I think the Jets tried to, solidify a hole.
Definitely. But, all right, I suppose we will get into our main segment for today, Bear Central. So, to recap, the Bears just played the Patriots, and holy shit, they won 33-14, almost the exact opposite score that Avery predicted for the game last week. Avery, how did that make you feel?
Hey, I'm just happy we won, but yeah, no, I was not high on going into this game, but like Phil said in the last segment, any given week, any team can come out and they can perform that well. They're all professionals, right? They're all in the NFL for a reason. And I want to say one thing. I don't think I've ever seen Bill Belichick be out-coached the way he was outcoached by a rookie head coach and Matt Eberflus that game. He had the defense going. We've given Luke Getsy a lot of crap this year being our offensive coordinator, saying, when is he going to figure it out with Fields? When is he going to figure it out with the run game? And everything mashed together into one magical night. And that I'll eat crow.
And that is definitely super awesome to see because, as you're alluding to, good players are good players, but what makes true championship Super Bowl bound teams are the coaches. The head coach putting up a good scheme and using those players correctly to get them there. And also, the offense, I just thought looked great. Justin Fields, I've been saying it all throughout this season so far. He has not technically finished his rookie year. He was still playing his first 16 games, and this was the first week of his 17th game that he is officially in his second year of gameplay. And look at the difference. I'm hoping it continues. I hope we keep seeing it. Otherwise, I'm going to look ridiculous saying this right now. But what did I tell you? 16 games done. Comes out on the 17th. He is balling out now.
Phil, I know you. Yeah, I agree. Phil, I know you watched this game because me and you, we were texting back and forth. What do you think? Like, what do you think of this game?
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching the Bears, primarily because you guys like the Bears, so I keep up with them. But they're really underdog teams. They're one of those type of teams. They're one of these underdog teams, and they were not the favorites going into that game. And I'll typically root for the underdog in every situation. But the Bears looked competent. Their offense looked competent. They looked like they knew what they were doing. They looked like they made a whole bunch of progress. The offense was clicking. The Bears' run game, which Avery told me this last week, was number one in rushing with Khalil, Herbert, and Montgomery and Fields. Like, they're all rushing for like combined 1,200 yards, something crazy. And yeah, the run game that they had was phenomenal. And they had Justin rolling out on those those designed QB runs, and he didn't have a whole lot of inaccurate passes, and complemented with the Bears defense. Yeah, they won it, and it wasn't even really close. So yeah, it was a fun game to watch.
I do love seeing we are the number one team leading rushing yards right now, but you also have to take that with a big grain of salt because we don't have the number one scoring team or even a highly scoring team to back it up whatsoever. And the only thing I see when I see number one rushing team right now is all I can think, damn, we cannot pass the ball to save our lives.
Well, and like you alluded to in the beginning, right? Justin Fields made a lot of progress. And I want to share a story that Phillip actually told me before the game. I was very down and out with the Bears. As you can tell of the last episode, that Commanders game destroyed my moral. I was done. I was mentally exhausted of watching the Bears. And Phil told me about maybe a day before the game, he was like, what if you guys go out and beat Chicago? What if you guys go out and beat New England and Justin Fields has the game of his life and he performs and 4 or 5 years people are looking at what was the game that flipped the script for Justin Fields, like they do when they look at Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. And then it happened. And I don't know if it's just like a flash pan and like flash in the pan and it's gone, or if it's here to stay consistently. But I want to give a huge shout out to Phil for even bringing that up, because I was not expecting that game. And then when it was happening, I was like, what is going on right now? Like, in my head, I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, this isn't the Bears I watch on a daily basis. So, yeah.
I know. You told me the Bears were still going to lose sometime in the third quarter, I think, when they were up.
They've broken my heart too many times. I can't. But, yeah, no. And then on the other side of the field, you have Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi.
Oh my God.
What is going on?
The quarterback controversy is real now. Like last week, I didn't think it. Like obviously Bill Belichick did what was expected. He put Mac Jones back, went with the veteran guy, the experienced guy. But then, hold up, here comes Zappy because Mac Jones isn't doing shit. That blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, now it's a controversy. Who's going to come out next game? Phillip, who do you think is going to be starting the next game for the Patriots right now?
I think Mac Jones will start again, but yeah, he might get taken out after one drive or two drives if he doesn't look too happy. But I was kind of surprised to see Zappy go in that quick. I looked up from my phone and saw on the TV that it wasn't Mac Jones. I was like, oh, Belichick's not playing around. He's not playing around.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, Bailey Zappi, I want to say, yeah, maybe there is a quarterback controversy because of those first two touchdown drives. Bailey Zappi led them down, and they actually took the lead, 14-13, I believe, for a short bit. But at the same time, the third and fourth quarter by Bailey Zappi looked atrocious. 3 picks, and we didn't even talk about our 2 rookies getting those picks. Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon both got 2 picks. So Ryan Poles knows what he's doing in Chicago because, holy crap, 2 second-round picks, pick in the game, that solidified the game. And I'm going to keep saying this all year long, pay that man, Roquan Smith. He was all over the field. He forced a fumble. He had a pick. He had 11 tackles. He had 1 sack. Pay that man. Chicago, I want you to hear me right now. You need to pay Roquan Smith.
I'm going to be absolutely devastated if we lose Roquan to another stupid, like, not enough money type of bullshit. Because everyone always talks about, oh, the cap space. Bears have #1 cap space right now in the NFL. Like, you guys have so much money to spend. Like, great. Then let's fucking spend it. You know, like, if we have all this cap space for some great players, why don't we just go out and get some fucking great players? We need to pay Roquan. We need to keep that man. And we need to stop making stupid trades like giving fucking Robert Quinn to the Eagles, which, newsflash, Robert Quinn's leaving now too because fuck our pass rushers. We don't care about having any sort of rush on the quarterback, I guess. Avery, how do you feel about that trade? I'm sure you're not a fan.
Oh, I feel sorry for Phillip because now that gives, the Eagles one more thing in their division. But I hate it. But at the same time, Robert Quinn wanted to leave in the offseason. And the Bears held on. He has 1 year left on his contract. Yeah, he had 18.5 sacks last year. But at the same time, when Mac was here, he didn't do anything. I like Robert Quinn a lot, and I think he's a great outside rusher. But at the same time, I think it was time for him to go because I knew he wasn't going to re-sign back with Chicago, and we might as well get at least a 4th-round pick. Because, even though we had a great game against the Patriots, we're still 3-4. And we're still in a rebuild mode. So that's just me thinking logically. What devastated me is I watched a press conference with Roquan Smith this week, and they broke the news of Robert Quinn leaving, and Roquan Smith cried. And that broke my heart.
He left his interview early because when he heard the news, he was like, I can't sit here and do this anymore.
How do you feel about Robert Quinn joining your division?
Yeah, you talk about a guy that gets 18.5 sacks. That's pretty scary. I don't need him on Philly's defensive line with Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave and all those other dudes. So one more guy that I got to worry about getting to Dak and injuring him. So thanks, Chicago, for letting him go like that. But we'll see. I mean, Philly's stacked on defense, and they just added another guy. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a pretty good idea. But, yeah, I wish it wasn't in my division.
Well,
Definitely.
Speaking of Robert Quinn playing against the Cowboys, let's get into this week's game. The Bears play the Cowboys this week. down in Dallas, and Cowboys are favored by 9.5. The over/under is 24.5. Let's start with our guest, Phillip. What do you think about this game? What are your feelings?
After watching Chicago kind of destroy New England, I don't feel very good about it, but I still think Dallas will win this game. I think they'll win it by about the same amount of points they're favored to win by. I think they'll win within 10 points, maybe a touchdown and a field goal, something similar to that. The key point things that I know Dallas needs to figure out when it comes to a team like Chicago is the run or RPOs, because Philly did that to us with Jalen Hurts and kind of made Parsons look silly. And Justin's one of those mobile quarterbacks, and he's got guys he can pitch the ball to or throw it off to. As long as it's an accurate pass, he's going to be a threat. But it's going to be a little scary because Chicago leads the league in rushing. But I think as long as we can neutralize that, we should be fine, because the Bears' offense isn't the greatest at getting the ball downfield, especially with our defense, our secondary. I think if we can just control it and control the run game, we should be okay. But that's gonna be hard, because Dallas's defense is not nearly as good as run stopping as it is like pass rushing. We're great against the pass, but if you run the ball down our throat like Philly did, and they controlled and managed that whole game, it's tough for Dallas. So that's really all I'm trying to worry about.
Avery, what about you? What do you think?
Trying to figure out a way to keep Micah, relevant and useful, and not get his ankles taken on RPOs.
Yeah. So I still don't have faith in Chicago. I hate to say it. I still don't have faith. We're such a up and down team. I hate to say it. It's a roller coaster ride, because you see us going from, we beat the 49ers in a monsoon game, to, we got destroyed by Green Bay, to we barely beat Houston on a last-second field goal, to what the fuck was that in New England? I'm anxious to watch this game, because I want to see if we can build momentum, and I want to see if we can carry this into the next week, especially on a short week. And I just looked, and Dallas has the 4th-ranked defense right now, so that's kind of terrifying for Justin Fields. Micah Parsons, scary. DeMarcus Lawrence, scary. Leighton Vander Esch, scary. Trayvon Diggs, as much as I hate to say it, I still won't say it. I don't like Trayvon Diggs. But, no, I just, to me, I think this is a either put up and shut up type of game for both teams. If Chicago wins, we could go on a nice little stretch here. We got the Lions 2 weeks in and the Lions 2 games in a 3-game stretch, and the Falcons. So I think we could go on a nice little stretch here. But if we don't, it's going to be the same old Bears, and we're going to show up, and it's going to be like, what the fuck? The one bright spot is Zeke is not playing.
How's that a bright spot?
So that is exciting.
How's that a bright spot?
All right, well, it's a bright spot for me that Zeke is not playing, and our rush defense is horrendous, and it's terrible.
I don't even know if I mind Zeke not play, or I don't even know if I care that Zeke's not playing. I feel like parts of me would almost rather him play, because low-key, I think Pollard should be your guys' RB1, and Zeke should be playing the extra reps. But that's just me. I'm glad you brought up the 49ers game, because that was one asterisk I had that I forgot to mention earlier with this Bears win, is the weather, as always with a Bears win, was not great. It was a little wet. It was real cold. It was a bad weather kind of game. And the Bears are notorious for winning those bad weather games. So we looked good. We looked like we made progress. Fields did complete some passes, and I think there were still things done right that show progress and that show that the offense is starting to mesh a little bit. But I am still very much worried about going down to Dallas and playing the Cowboys because of that aspect. That Patriots is a bad weather game. We pulled it off. Great. Now we're going to go down, have some decent weather. We'll be down in the South playing the Cowboys with the number 4 defense, which, to go back to what Phillip was saying, they're great against the pass and not so great against the run. And the Bears may have the number 1 rushing offense. But as I was saying earlier, that's because we can't pass. So if I was calling the defense for this game from Dallas, I would be throwing everything I can at the run, and the pass will probably more than likely defeat itself with the Bears.
I agree, and yeah, you're right. It's a dome-weathered. It's down in AT&T Stadium, so we don't have to worry about weather at all because it's dome. But yeah, I'm scared about this game as a Bears fan. I do want to say I am a little superstitious. I've worn my old-ass Walter Payton jersey for 2 games here, and the 49ers game and the Patriots game, 2 teams that we should not beat, and I'm going to be wearing it this weekend at Phillip's house, watching, hopefully, the Bears beat Dallas, so I can rub it in his face.
I would love for the Bears to beat Dallas. The most my confidence will go right now, though, is I will take them to cover. If they lose, I'm hoping they lose by around 7-ish, maybe less than 7. I'm going to take Bears plus 9.5 to cover. Avery?
I'll take Bears plus 5.5.
You don't get to do those odds. No alternate spreads here.
Alternate odds. No, I would probably take Dallas to cover then, unfortunately. Phil, what do you think? You already kind of said it earlier, but you got the Bears to cover, right?
No, he said Dallas.
No.
He said Dallas -9.5.
I know. I was trying to trick
I
him.
think Dallas will win it by 10 points or more.
All right.
I think Dak will click. I think he'll improve from last week. Yeah.
I'm just hoping for.
I got Dallas winning 27-17.
Ooh,
That's my prediction.
Going real specific there. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm not even gonna guess.
I'll go real. I'll go real specific. I think it'll be a 20-13 game, Dallas.
All right, fuck it. I like seeing Pasco. What did Dallas just beat the Lions by 24? Okay. Bears have a pretty solid defense too. I think I'm gonna call it a solid 17. I'm gonna make this a 17-14 game, Dallas. 17-14. I think it's low scoring. Bears offense still's not great. Love that it's starting to mesh, but going against the number 4 defense, I think they're going to be real slowed down. Bears also have a top-notch defense, and so I think it's a low-scoring game. I'll go 17-14 Dallas.
Hey, I want to ask one more question before we move off this subject. Phil, if Dak Prescott comes out and he plays one of the worst games of his career, he has like a 3.9 QBR rating. He's like 4 for 14, 3 picks. And you guys are only trailing 13-0 because Chicago's offense can't move in. And the third to fourth quarter is Mike McCarthy benching Dak Prescott for Cooper Rush.
That is the wildest of scenarios. If that happens, I'd throw Ben DiNucci in there. Let's see what he can do. Rush isn't scoring any points.
Ben DiNucci.
Points. Let's throw Ben.
Avery last year convinced me so hard on betting on Ben DiNucci in his first game with the Cowboys, and I have never regretted a bet more in my life than putting my money on fucking Ben DiNucci to win a
Ben DiNucci versus the Giants on Monday Night Football.
Oh my goodness.
Man, what a good game.
All right.
I still remember that game.
Well, it was nice having you on, Phillip. That wraps up our NFL segment. So you were an awesome guest. It's good talking with you, and good luck to you guys. It's a Sunday game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, noon.
Good luck to you guys on Sunday.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So now to get into our college segment, let's talk Hawks. So, Iowa just played number 2 Ohio State, and I'll say Avery and I's predictions last week were maybe a little more than optimistic. They lost 54-10. So I wasn't too far off on the Iowa scoring standpoint. Just overestimated our defense a little bit. Avery, did you watch this game? How did you feel about it?
I did watch this game. I turned it off with about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter when Ohio State scored and they went up 48-10. And it looked promising for the first quarter and a half. It looked promising. Iowa scored first on a defensive touchdown, and we were hanging in. And then they gave up, and Ohio State's offense started rolling. And that's the thing. 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals were given up by Spencer Petras. Spencer Petras. And we even benched him.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too, but no, yeah, I watched the very, very beginning of this game, and I saw maybe one drive or two in the second quarter before I had to go out and deal with my own game. So I didn't see any of the end, and I was absolutely shocked when I came back and checked the final score and saw that it was 54-10. I saw we were up. We were up 7-0 or 7-3, whatever. Like, when I checked, I think it was 7-3 or something. But I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's happening. And it's exactly like we talked about last week. Like, hey, if Iowa comes out first with a couple defensive touchdowns, like, do they dampen the spirits enough to build that momentum and win this game? And obviously we were right, because no. But almost going into the half, it was late in the second quarter when I first turned it back on my phone to watch a little bit, and it was 10-19. And I was like, we're only down 9 points, and it's almost halftime. This is unbelievable. And then I watched us throw a pick six, and, that changed a little bit for me. But still, when I saw the final score, I was like, what happened? Why did we fall apart so much? And it's from the sounds of it, they just gave up, and that's rough. I don't know how the offense was doing. I don't know if they were they going 3 and out all the time in like the third quarter, fourth quarter?
Yeah, Torrey Taylor got a lot of action punting the ball, so that was good. And even he didn't look good.
Really?
He didn't even look good against Ohio State, and that's our bright spot. A lot of it was mistakes and picks and fumbles. And I don't know. Fire Brian Ferentz at this point. Fire Kirk Ferentz at this point. I'm done.
The only problem I have with Kirk is just that he allows Brian to be there still, when I think if there is no relationship between the two, Brian would have been gone a long time ago. That is my one thing with Kirk, is just the nepotism. Outside of that, I think he's a great head coach. But no, and benching Petras, like, we've been asking for it all season. Like, we've wanted it. We've wanted to see what Padilla can do. We've wanted to see what the other freshman can do. I don't even know his name. But it's too late. When you do it against the number 2 team in the nation, it's too late. You don't throw in your second-string quarterback in this game. You are throwing that man to the fucking wolves. I'm not surprised that we threw interceptions and fumbled and fucked up. Like, you absolutely just threw an unprepared man to the wolves. If you want to do it correctly, you need to get him reps. Give him his own drive or two. Let him play the fourth quarter. Let him play the second half. Something. Padilla needs to go in against the bad teams or in the early games, and then he can actually have some game experience. You're not going to throw him in against the second team in the country and expect him to do any better than Petras is going to do.
Yeah, I like what you're saying with that, because they did. But I've seen Petras and I've seen Padilla, because Padilla started a couple of games for us last year, and he did not look good last year either, and neither does Petras. And at this point, do you just cut your losses and try our third-string freshman quarterback?
I think we do.
He was a 3-star.
I think we do.
He's a 3-star prospect. I think we do it against Northwestern this weekend. Because you're talking about starting them against bad teams, letting them play in bad games. This is a bad game that we're about to see.
At the very least, what needs to happen is Petrus is a senior anyway, right? So when you have a senior quarterback, what do you need to do? You need to get that next guy ready, because it's just like we've been talking about with Justin Fields, rookie year, like no NFL experience. No one has a good rookie year. And it is the same with quarterbacks when they first get that starting position. If they don't have true active game reps by the time they are the starter on that team, like, they're going to come out rough. So what they need to do right now is they need to get that third string guy reps. I don't care how many reps it is. Like, he needs to get at least a drive. And almost all of the games coming up, I want to see him go in for at least a drive. Because even if it is a battle between him and Padilla, like, him and Padilla can each get a drive in up the next games. Petrus can play the rest of the game, whatever. This season is a wash anyway. But I think that's all the more reason to get those two in the game, get them those live reps with experience against some maybe not great teams, but some conference-level competition teams, and get them prepared for next year. Because like I said, this season's a wash. I'm already thinking next year, and what we need next year is a quarterback. And we need to start prepping that quarterback now, because he's not going to come out of thin air.
I agree. Our third-string quarterback, so we just don't keep naming him third-string quarterback. It's Joe Labas. Labas out of Virginia. Virginia Beach. So, and three-star prospect, and that's okay. Like, I mean, Iowa's not going to get a five-star dual-threat quarterback. Iowa's not known for quarterbacks. But I don't even know if Joe Labas will be the quarterback next year, because Padilla's a junior. And also, I want to see Iowa be active in the transfer portal. The transfer portal is huge in college football nowadays. And I think we could get a solid quarterback out of the transfer portal that could flip the script for Iowa. That could absolutely flip the script like Joe Burrow did for LSU. Right? I don't know if we'll get that high quality of a quarterback, but there's two quarterbacks up in Michigan right now, J.J. McCarthy and Cade McNamara. And Cade McNamara got benched this year for J.J. McCarthy. And I think Cade McNamara would be a solid Iowa Hawkeye quarterback.
You got to think that's a good point. And that's one thing that I lack a little bit sometimes, is thinking like, hey, trades. Let's trade a guy. Because in a season, you can never truly bank on that, you know? Like, I still want to see the guys we have now get in, grow up, and get reps. But you got to think, there's probably so many quarterbacks out there, places Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, that are just sitting as backups. And you'd think they could make a pretty decent offer of, hey, want to not be a backup? And Iowa is a historically successful team. Like, they win games. They have winning records most of the time. So you got to think like, hey, here's a good enough program that just needs one big key factor. You could be that factor. Do you want to come here?
Yeah, and we have the defense in place. The offensive line will get better. They're just so young. It makes sense. Let's be active in the transfer portal. And you know where it falls on? It falls on Kirk Ferentz, because he's never been active in the transfer portal.
He's too old school.
He's too old. He's all about he's all about development. And I get it, man. Like, he's the longest tenured college football coach for a reason. But everything going on with Brian Ferentz, and Kirk's also 70 years old. Do we buy out his contract this year? Because Iowa's defense isn't going to be there all the time. I know that it has been for the last 10 years. And if we do buy out his contract, who are potential candidates that would be great? You know, like, I don't know.
To say. Maybe I can, maybe I'll put in my application. I got a year under my belt, college coach. I can give it a shot. Hey, I can't be much worse than Brian Ferentz, right?
Oh man, I think you would actually be better. But no, I think Brian Ferentz will be gone at the end of this year, and I think if Kirk doesn't figure shit out right now, Kirk will be gone by the end of this year. Maybe not this year, but next year for sure. And the reason I say that, there's one coach that I think would come back to Iowa. This is a little off topic from the game, but Brett Bellamy, he's got Illinois as the 17th ranked Fighting Illini, and he's been a great coach for Illinois. And he's an Iowa alum. He was an All-American middle linebacker for us. He has, for God's sake, he has a Hawkeye tattoo on his calf. I think Brett Bellamy would leave Illinois to come coach his alma mater, and he would be amazing
is
for us.
Is he Illinois' head coach, or is he an assistant there?
He's their head coach. So
I
don't know.
That's the part that would make it tough for me. Like, I would love it. I could see all the reasons for it, but leaving one head coaching job for another, especially when he's already gotten Illinois to that 17th spot, that if he was like an OC or a DC, I'd say, oh fuck yeah, he'd like easily leaving for a head coaching position. But if he's already got that, I'm slightly skeptical.
And then the other thing is Phil Parker, our defensive coordinator. Phil Parker's been a great assistant coach for us for so many years, since I think 2011. And I think Phil Parker would be an amazing head coach. He just needs someone that's capable of running the offense. And I know it wouldn't be Brian Ferentz, because Phil Parker and Brian Ferentz butt heads all the time. Phil Parker is so underrated, and people forget about him because he doesn't want to leave Iowa. So why not make him the next head coach? He's 55 years old.
Yeah, definitely there needs to be a change. And because without a change, like, we're not going to make a change. We can't expect to be in college football playoffs when we don't do something to make that happen, i.e. change up the coaching staff. But let's get into this next upcoming game. We're playing Northwestern. We're favored by 10.5 points. Over-under is 37.5. Gosh, I don't know. Northwestern only has one win so far in the season. I don't know who all they've played. I don't know who that win was against or anything, but what?
It was against good old Nebraska in the first game of the year.
I watched that game, of course. I should have known that. Yeah, and that's Nebraska, so, who doesn't beat Nebraska? But, no, I'm nervous. I'm really nervous about this game.
Me too. I agree. I think if we don't win this game, we're not going to make a bowl game this year.
If we don't win this game, bowl game. Even right now, bowl game is somewhat, like, out of my like, I forget how many total games there are in a...
You have to win 6 games to make a bowl.
We have half of those right now. And we're about to be going up against... I don't even know. We still need to play... Who all do we need to play still? We need to play Nebraska. We need to play a lot of teams. But, no, I'm super nervous about this game because I have zero confidence in Iowa right now. From an offensive standpoint, I have zero confidence. I don't even know who to tell you is going to be our quarterback. Like, our starting quarterback. I don't know who is taking that field in the first quarter.
Yeah, to be honest, I think we do win this game. But to finish out the year, we have Northwestern this upcoming week, Purdue, which I think we would beat Purdue, Wisconsin, which they're a dumpster fire, but so are we. So are we. So 2 blue bloods of the Big Ten are both dumpster fires, and I think we lose that game against Wisconsin, believe it or not. Minnesota, which could be a toss-up, but I think we lose that game. And then we're going to be sitting at 5-7, and I guarantee Nebraska will be sitting at 5-7 also. And it'll be who goes to the bowl game and who's the shittiest team in the Big Ten. Which not technically shittiest team, but you know what definitely. I mean. But I think Iowa covers by 10.5 on this game.
You think they cover by 10.5? I don't know if they cover per se, but I do think they win it. I pray to God they win. I think Northwestern isn't that great a team. I think the defense will once again win us this game. But as far as like you're listing off those teams and you're thinking bowl games, I don't know if we win 6. I don't know. I don't know if we make it to 6 games against the lineup we have coming up with our offense. That defense is going to have to be putting in work because some of those teams, they scare me. They scare me just from a mediocre standpoint.
Yeah, and if this was last year, I'd be like, oh, we're winning all these. And what happened to Petrus? Because I knew he was bad last year, but he wasn't this bad. He took a step back. He regressed so much. And that could be because Tyler Goodson is gone. His running back, Tyler Goodson's gone. Tyler Lindenbaum is also gone. He lost a lot of offensive talent. The offensive line is really young. And I think that's why Petrus is struggling as much as he did. But I think he needs to hang it up as a college football quarterback, and he needs to get started on his singing career because, oh my God, he's not going anywhere near the NFL.
Definitely. I think it is definitely the time to – I don't hate Petrus still playing. Like, sure, you can give him a half. It's his senior season, whatever. Like – that's just me being a little bit of a seniority type of guy, even though I know that should not exist in Power 5 college football. But still, give them a half of each game, whatever. But that the second half of every game, or even flip-flop, the first half of every game, however you want to break it up, however you want to do it, we need to be getting our other quarterbacks in there. I want to see what they can do. If Kirk's all about development and developing players, great. Let's put them in and fucking develop them already because you know you're losing Petrus, so you got to do something about it. But
exactly.
Anyway, I think that wraps us up for today, everybody. Thank you for listening. Please follow us on Instagram, like and subscribe. And hey, I want everybody out there to go find one friend, and I want you to tell them about us. I want you to say, hey, there's this super cool podcast. Couple idiots sit there and talk to each other all day. It's great. Just everybody, tell one friend. Like, let's spread our reach a little bit. We're trying to get an audience here. So,
yeah, and I want to give a huge shout out to our guest host, Phillip. I don't wish him luck this week because we're playing them, but he was an awesome guest host. Definitely. One of the best. We've only had 2, and they were both great. But expect more for the future. But I got 2 words to say. Bear down!